Niles Discovery Church is a church created by the merging of Niles Congregational Church and First Christian Church of Fremont. The discernment process took several years, and while it was overwhelmingly approved, it presented a change that affected both congregations. This video is a glimpse of who we were and how some of us responded to that change. There is much more to this story than is presented here, but it is hoped that this video will provide some sense of our transition.
Yeah, we can think back on that, because we moved here, what, in 1972, from Schenectady to Fremont, and we were living over by the Lucky Store. And what was that sign that we saw behind the Lucky Store?
Future home of
Yeah,
Niles Congregational.
future home of Niles Congregational Church. There was a big sign there.
So we thought it was going to be a local.
So we thought it was going to be just, 1 block away. So we came here.
Actually, Dorothy Pierce, a longtime member that you don't know,
Yeah,
but
Dorothy
people
Pierce.
would know from a long time ago. She was an Avon lady in our
Yeah.
neighborhood. So for 2 years she came to our house, and I had little kids, so I often would buy jewelry, gifts, Avon gifts to send to family members at holidays, and she kept saying, try our church, try our church. And we went to Centerville Press,
Yeah.
and that wasn't a fit, and so we just kind of stopped going, and finally we just did go to that church. And that was the Sunday before Sally and Walter Smith came. And we loved it. The interim minister.
The interim minister was really good. We didn't know anything about Sally and Walter at that point.
And the choir was.
And the choir was good. Jerry was still
Jerry.
was still there.
Jerry
giving hugs.
Mulcahy.
Yeah. So we did. And we were the first people that joined the church after Sally and Walter became ministers.
So they always made us feel special.
Yeah, they did.
Because they'd try things on us. When you're our first members, what do you think
Right.
of so-and-so?
Yeah.
And there was the little house next door where the parking lot is now.
Yeah.
Little yellow house, and our kids went to preschool there on Sunday.
Sunday school.
And Carol
Yeah.
Knight used to be there all the time,
Yeah.
and so they got used to her. And then there was the lady who was the choir director, former choir director, and she had gum. Her big deal was packs of gum. And
The gum lady.
And that's
The gum
what
lady.
everyone, a
Yep.
whole generation, or several generations, knew her as the gum lady.
Yeah.
And our little kids would go to her, and she'd always give them a stick of gum after church.
We were members of United Church of Hayward in South Hayward, the Congregational Church. And that's where I met my wife, and the kids were baptized. We got married there. But we looked one day, and the Sunday school was just our 2 kids. And we thought, well, maybe it's time for a renewal for us and get them into a bigger Sunday school where they can make friends with other kids, and it's a better experience for them. So we were living where we live now in South Fremont, and driving basically up Mission and past here to get to the other church. So I had heard about Niles Congregational Church because it had been, around forever. So we just said, okay, let's give that a shot. And so we went one Sunday, and it was, big choir, which was important to me. Great music. We liked David Finster a lot. Big Sunday school. A lot of kids got up for the Sunday school thing. So we said, okay, this will work. And then immediately afterwards, we were greeted with a hug and a history lesson and a tour, the Jerry Mulcahy trifecta. And so that always helps, because I had years and years ago moved to San Bruno when I was 23, 24, and went to a Congregational church in San Mateo where no one paid attention to you after the service. So that personal, glad to see you, greet you kind of thing just is really important.
1967, and we came here on the rebound from a disappointing experience at another church. And at the time we had 2 little girls, probably, 6, 7 years old.
Yes, 6 and 7, or 5.5 and 7.
And we visited here, and when we were leaving, driving down Niles Boulevard, going under the underpass, I said, well, where will we go next Sunday? And this was the days before seatbelts. And the girls were in the back and they were jumping up and down saying, we want to go back there, we want to go back there. And we couldn't understand what was happening. So I said, why do you want to go back there? And they said, we love that Sunday school teacher. And it turned out it was Marilyn Singer. And so we've been coming ever since.
Nice.
Yeah.
It helped that we were very impressed with the service. Jim Manley was the minister at the time, and we found the people in the congregation very friendly, very interesting, very involved in the community. We'd heard that about this church, but we hadn't been here before. So all four of us were impressed with our first Sunday here, and we became members.
We were born into the Niles Congregational, so we don't really know anything other than Niles Congregational. But I mean, I can't say too much that I'm gonna miss, because it's kind of like, it seems like it's almost merging like the same. I mean, we're still the same body of people, we're just growing, which is what I've always wanted to see for Niles Congregational, especially for kids our age. We don't really see anyone our age, and so we're kind of like the only one in that era. There's either me and my sister, and then all these little kids, and then like there's older people where it's just us in the middle. So I hope with like the merging of the church, it comes with new people and younger people, and you can see that because we get some younger folks, like I would say like early or mid 20s, like that one gal she just got pregnant.
Heather.
Yes, Heather. Just people like her age, and I think it's good because you see all these older kids that are going through confirmation, and when we went through confirmation after, it was kind of like everyone in our confirmation class kind of just disappeared. I mean, I don't know if it's so much because everyone went away to college, but I know some people that didn't go too far and they kind of like disappeared.
Well, I connected more to like the building too, like obviously the people, but I mean, as everyone knows, people come and go, but you connect to those people who stay, but you also connect to the building itself, like running around the halls and stuff. So that's why now that we're moving, I'm like, it's bittersweet. It's really exciting that we're growing, we're becoming bigger, but it's like this building means a lot to me too, and just like the placement and like how we go out there for Easter hunts and like, you know, just the place in general. It's sad to leave, but it's good that we're growing and we're becoming bigger, because you can't stay this small forever. You have to get bigger and like, you know, grow together. But I think that it's exciting.
It's like we were a potted plant, and this building was just our pot, and our roots couldn't get any farther than the walls of the pot. And I feel now that, although like she said, I've been in this church my whole life. We went to preschool here actually too.
With Miss Ricky.
Yeah, so we were like embedded in this church, and but I just feel like at first I was really sad to hear that we were going to move buildings, and at first I was really like against it, and then I had to like take a step back and think about, if you think about what would happen if this building burnt, like God forsake if this building had burned down, and we're still going to be the same congregation. It's not about the place, the structure, it's about the people in the end.
The biggest impact was when church sent me to camp, and they sent me to National Youth Event as a youth. Back then there were so many youth involved in the church that they would choose one youth to represent them, and I was chosen my senior year to represent Niles Congregational Church in Champaign, Illinois for a National Youth Event. Came back and I went to a bunch of churches for a year and spoke on what I had learned. That, as a young child, probably kept me engaged, and knowing then that I needed to go out and learn and talk and spread the word of the church.
I grew up in California, came from a very nice, loving family of mother and brothers and sisters. Became a teacher, moved to Hayward, met my husband,
Nice.
and, that's pretty much it. I went to Fremont Congregational, and, because I had been visiting lots of churches around Newark, and then that was starting on Fremont. And Lou Hedgecock was there, and I used to teach with him in Hayward. And he said, well, Dina, if you're looking for a church, he said, you might want to go over to Niles. He said, something is going on over there, and I hear it's good. And I came over, and I sat in front of Marilyn Singer. I looked up at the choir and saw Marilyn Razor, and there was a woman in the pulpit. And I went home and said, Pete, if this isn't our church, then there isn't one. Really, really. In fact, I walked around the block to see if there was a house for sale.